Audience the best, do you think?
I think we're going to go with the topic of where to go here. Get hired fast, proven.
Let's do it, baby. Yeah, let's do it.
I know a lot of people that are looking for jobs and and probably need some help getting one.
That's great, Wayne. That's right. And buddy, you feel free to. I don't see you, so if I get long-winded, you just butt in and tell me to. Dude, be quiet. And I'll cut my. Yeah, no, it's all good.
I got some handy little things here on my pod machine, so I'll just do a little. Oh, sorry about that.
You're awesome, man. It's awesome.
That's what happens. I sit here and play with these knobs and stuff because I'm trying to get everything synchronized up, and then I hit something and scare myself.
That's all right, buddy. Hey, and the other thing I want to say is when this when you get ready to publish this thing, you let me know and we'll plug it, and we want to help bring listeners to your podcast. So
it's the first thing to do once I edit it up. We post it to social media and then back to Podmatch and Podbeam and.
Perfect. Yeah, we want to be helpers there. So it's awesome, absolutely. Wayne. Awesome.
So let me just do a little quick introduction here for the people that are getting in here. So tonight we have Eric Woodard, and he is the founder of Win at Work and a leadership and career coach who helps professionals get hired fast, grow their careers, and succeed in leadership and workplace success with practical job search and career development tips. We do have a link here on this episode, so you can go and go to the website. The link will direct you to Eric's free career workshop. Get hired fast, even if they can't attend live. Registering ensures they receive the replay. So again, welcome to the show, Eric, and pleasure to have you here tonight. I am alone tonight. Angela isn't feeling too well, so we're just going to wing it by myself.
We'll wing it, Wayne, and I'm just so happy to be here and just acknowledge you for, just providing this podcast to your listeners. I know you serve them in all sorts of different ways, and don't worry, Wayne, we'll be just fine, you and me tonight.
Awesome. So let's dive into this whole thing here with, what are some of the, I've lucked out in my life. I've literally only worked, I think, 3 jobs my entire life. I bought my first business when I was about 23, wow. And I've been self-employed since then. Not that I haven't come close to going back onto the work market, but
I hear you there.
But it's tough, But what are some of the mistakes that professionals make during a job search, and how can they get hired fast?
Absolutely. Well, it's a great question. And I just, acknowledge you because, we're all working for somebody. And, I'm an entrepreneur too. I run my own business, and, we're all, whether it's a boss on a W-2 or, a client or a shareholder, we're all working for somebody.
Right. The money doesn't come from nowhere.
Right. So it's so it's sort of applicable. And a lot of the things I would, argue that make a good entrepreneur actually make a good job seeker, because in a way they're not completely dissimilar. But to answer your question, I mean, the main thing I see, and I think there's a lot of reasons for this that I could dive into if you want me to, but a lot of times job seekers are really, frankly, self-centered. They really focus on, what do I want? How can I sell myself? What am I good at? What's my value? And that's all fine. And employers are thinking about themselves. And so there's sort of a polarity of thought when, if I as a job seeker want to go in and talk about me, and the employer's like, well, what about us? And so the opportunity for any job seeker is to flip it. And in their job search, make their job search employer focused. And really what the employer thinks about the applicant is kind of none of the applicant's business, sort of like that.
Right. Well, it's like doing your homework. If you're going to go apply for, a packing company, for instance, you want to at least walk in there with some knowledge of what they do and what they produce. And then you can at least say, you can I lost the word that I was going to use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do.
You're not just walking, like you said, a lot of people go in, almost like cocky, like, like, wow, I did this. Well, that's great. But what are you going to do for us?
Right. Well, or even, and this is sort of the next level, right? Because I'll get this. Sometimes and thanks for mentioning my workshop, by the way. I really appreciate that. I did it earlier today, because I'll ask people what a good resume is about. And most people say it's about me, but other people will, and some people will even say it's about what I can do for the employer. And I would even say, nah, it's what's possible for the employer. See, we can take ourselves out of it even more. And then it becomes really easy to job search because it's not about us at all. It's about them. And that brings a lot of power to the table.
Okay. So I've always, I almost kind of liken that to like when I bought my first business, having to go to the bank and get that money, you know what I mean? I've been talking to another person I know who's trying to do the same thing. It's like, you got to, when you write your business plan, you've got to foresee the future, and you've got to see, and you got to be confident about it, and you got to go in there and make the bankers think,
right,
and that you're going to be successful.
Yeah,
you can't walk in with your head down and shuffling through papers. Go in there, be confident, and you want to leave with them going, "Well, this dude's going to make it. He's going to, he's really set forwards."
Well, the opportunity, and you're exactly right. And this is what I mean by job searching isn't entirely that different from being an entrepreneur. What you want is the banker to see possibility in them doing business with you. That's what you're after. As long as they see that possibility, which for a banker is probably dollar signs, they're good to go. That's the idea. Yep.
Absolutely. So let's see that. So, how could someone accelerate their career growth and stand out as a leader in today's workplace?
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult nowadays because there's just, I just think there's so many people out there looking for jobs now.
Well, yeah. And you're not incorrect on that. And a lot of times I'll talk to job seekers and that's exactly what I'll hear. Oh, there's so much competition, or it's the economy, or it's my industry, and that may all be true. And what I often offer to job seekers that are sort of stuck in that is the idea that job seeking is a microeconomic endeavor, right? You're not applying to an industry. You're not applying to, an economy. You're not even applying to, in some cases, an organization. What you're really applying to is there's somebody there, a hiring manager of some sort, who's drowning. They're drowning in work, and they've literally put up their hands to say, help, I am drowning, in the form of a job description. And so you don't have to worry so much about the economy or the competition. The opportunity instead is to focus on that one employer, which is usually another person, and they need help. And if you can make that person feel seen, heard, and understood, if you can give that person safety, you don't have to worry about the competition or the economy.
Okay. But how do you, again, so say I was going in for a job somewhere.
Sure.
What would be what would you recommend, the first steps before, putting my resume down and having it printed out and taking it into a proposed employer?
And it might, anymore, it's so funny, Wade, anymore. I mean, I remember when we used to print resumes too, on fancy paper. And anymore, it's pretty rare, right? But I take your point, right? It's like that they used to have papyrus. Remember?
I know it's all digital now,
Now it's all digital, right? But to answer your question, so what a lot of, take for instance, cover letters. Okay. One of my favorite activities is to take a cover letter and literally count the number of I's and me's. And for most people, there's a whole bunch. I, me. I mean, I even see some letters where every single sentence begins with the word I. And it's fine. It's just not particularly effective. Right. Whereas,
and you know what? It's fun.
Yeah. Tell me.
I've done that because and then I look at it and I'm just like, okay, it doesn't even sound professional. It's like, I did this and, we did this.
Well, it may be professional. It's just really self-centered.
Yeah, I mean, but it just sounds. I don't know. Maybe professional wasn't the right word, but it just doesn't. I don't know. To me, it doesn't sound professional. If every word starts.
Well, it could be. Or I'm going to make a joke right now.
If every sentence is just starting with I.
Right. It's somebody who doesn't write good.
There you go.
Another way it's another way to say it. Yeah. That's another way to say it. Right.
Somewhere there's an English teacher listening to this going, "Oh my goodness, he did not."
They write bad. They write bad. They don't write good. But so. I mean, but it's having that awareness as a job seeker, so that when an employer reads it, like if I'm an employer and I read a letter and it's all about the applicant, I don't see a lot of possibility for me or my organization or what I'm trying to, the miracles I'm trying to create in the world. On the other hand, and I'm stealing this from you. There's a great author, a guy named Chris Voss, who wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. He was former FBI hostage negotiator. I'm stealing this from him. That like. If we can get somebody to say that's right, not you're right, that's right. If we can get somebody to say either think those words in their head or say them out loud, that means they feel seen, heard, and understood. And when they feel seen, heard, and understood, their shields come down, and that means they're now open to possibility. And that's what we're after, because that's really all an employer is interested in is, hey, if I hire this person, how's this going to make me look for my boss? And are they going to be put together where maybe I can finally take my family to Disneyland for that vacation I've been putting off for 19 years because I haven't had anybody working for me that can do the stuff. That's really what it's all the human stuff. So that's the deal.
Okay. Gotcha. So, yeah. So, kind of just, making them, comfortable in knowing that if they hire you, that, you're going to be able to do what you're applying for, but other things that you might be able to bring to the table down the road.
Yeah, or just that they can trust you. I mean, that's the other thing I'll tell people.
Hard.
Yeah.
I've had my run-ins with it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm sure you've had it too. You've got people you got to fire sometimes. And
could be, but at least in terms of the hiring process, right? I mean, a lot of times, I would argue there's only one reason somebody's ever going to hire you, and it's not your skills, it's not your experience, it's not even if they like you, it's if they trust you. Because how often have we seen people who are a disaster get hired, and the people who are so crazy qualified not get hired? It's trust, right? And so then later, look, if there's a situation where somebody's got to be let go because of the economics or something, that's a different story. But in that initial thing where somebody has 30 seconds, if that, to look at a resume and maybe half hour, an hour in an interview, what we want to do is use those as opportunities to build trust, because that's the reason they're going to hire you or anybody. So
would you say that's along the same lines as like just being personable? Because that's kind of like the couple of jobs that I have had, I've always, not that I'm a charming person by any means, like grass at times, but
I will tell you, I don't know if I experience you as charming, Wayne, but I've just meeting you. I experience you as authentic, and that builds trust, authenticity.
And it's funny you say that, because I've got two other business partners in my other business, and we've had little off and ons, because that was one of the first things I said from the very beginning. It's like, listen, you know what I mean? I am just brutally honest. If you ask me a question, you're going to get the answer, and I'll be honest with you right from the start. I'm not here during the day to be your buddy. I'm here to run a business and make money, and they didn't know how to take that. You know what I mean? They don't know how to take that, like, brute honesty. But I don't have the time. To me, like, why dick around? Because you're just eventually going to have to hit that honesty wall somewheres.
Yeah. Well, the distinction you're offering, and again, it's one I learned from one of my coaches, Steve Chandler, is...
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the podcast tonight. Just a quick little insert here. We're going to do Tango Tech earlier in the show, and actually it's Tango software today. I want to talk about a piece of software that I use every day and absolutely love it. I have both Gmail and Microsoft email accounts, and trying to find, Microsoft and Gmail no longer work very well together. I can't get my Outlook email into Gmail, and I can't get my Gmail into Outlook anymore. All the security features are causing blocking issues. So I got this program called mClient, and it's EMCLIENT, Client. And you can go to our website, hmprintdesign.com, and you'll see that we are a authorized reseller on that. But it allows you to add any email you want into there. So I've got my iCloud in there, I've got my Microsoft accounts in there, I've got my Google accounts in there, and you can drag emails from one account to the other account. You can put them in folders, you can categorize them, you can create automatic tasks out of them or meetings, and it's very, very, I consider very high productivity software. So if you're looking for an easier way to operate your emails and your calendars, check out our website, and you can buy it directly right from us. Thank you much. Back to the show.
Pleasing versus serving, right? And the opportunity is to be willing to offend in the name of service, right? So here's a I've never actually done this or had a client do this, but I dream, Wayne. So think it's a job interview, right? And at the beginning of the job, and let's say I'm wearing a really nice suit, right? And at the beginning, and it's in person, and at the beginning of the interview, they say, "Eric, are you ready?" And I look at them and I go, and they were like, "Well, what's wrong?" I'm like, "One moment. There's a glass of water sitting there. I take the water and I pour it over my head. And I put it down and I say, okay, now I'm ready." Now they're horrified. They're like, "What the hell did you just do?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, let me explain. I poured the water over my head as a reminder that I am not here to look good and I am not here to please you. I'm here to serve you. All the energy that I would have taken to look good and please you, I'm now putting into service. And pouring the water over my head is just a reminder of that. Now we can get started." Now, one of two things would happen. They'd either kick your ass out for getting their conference room floor wet, or they'd hire you on the spot if for no other reason to have the story. And that's kind of what you're talking about, is we want to be willing to offend in the name of service, because so many people aren't.
Yeah. And that's like, I have that story. I have that struggle almost on a weekly basis. Like, they'll tell customers things. It's like, well, why'd you tell them that? Because now you've got to make that come true. Just be honest from the up-go, and then you don't have to worry about the consequences on it.
That's right.
To me, it's just common sense to me. But I and I struggle with why other people don't.
Well, they want to look good, right? Because we're a social tribe species.
True.
This is really old wiring, right? And we're wired to get along with the tribe. This goes back to caveman time, right? And one could argue that the thing that's most similar to a tribe these days, aside from our Native American friends who actually do have tribes, hat tip to our Native American friends. But aside from that, like, the closest thing we have to like a tribe going back to caveman times is the workplace. Maybe school, but for those of us in the working world, it's the workplace. So a lot of times our amygdala, right, our lizard brains will fall into the misinterpretation of reality that, the boss is the chief, or whatever you want to call him. And that can kind of mess us up. I'm going to steal
that line from you, if you don't mind. I'm going to steal that line. Like, next time I work, it's like, I think you're having a misinterpretation of the reality.
Yeah, misinterpretation of reality. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to have too many of those. That's right.
I love it, though. I bet you I could probably use that. I bet you a week's pay, I could probably use it about 9 times a week.
All right. That's great. You have it, man. You can use it. I love that, Wayne.
I'll send you a shirt. I'll have to make you a shirt and send it to you.
All right. All right. That sounds beautiful. I love that. It's my gift to you, Wayne. Misinterpretation of reality. And if you want to be really fancy, you can say they're laboring under the misinterpretation of reality. See, that's the real one.
I'm actually writing it down.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's all yours, Wayne. There you go, buddy.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it somewhere. You can be like,
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so again, I get off topic all the time on here. I don't know if you've listened to any of our previous episodes, but Angela usually has to try like she sits off the side. She's got to like wrangle me back. It's like, come on,
Angela, we love you, and you're not here, so we're going rogue. It's all good. Yeah.
So, and I do. Here's the thing. I'm just going to give Podmatch a little plug here, because I love how everybody puts these pages together. Yeah. Because it helps give you like a flow. You know what I mean? Sure. You know the information that's ready to be spouted out, and I love it. So I hope you don't mind me just running down your questions.
No, have at it.
So, what strategies help professionals? Would you say build their confidence and influence and their workplace presence?
Yeah. Well, in a way, that's kind of what we've been talking about, right? Because if we sort of work along the operating principle that what other people think of us is none of our business, including recruiters and employers, right? And we just, because we're focused on them. It's not about us. That can make anybody the most dangerous person in upstate New York or the United States or anywhere, it just because, and it builds trust because we're being super authentic and, confidence wise, you just, the only way somebody can hurt you is if you buy into, obviously, physically they can walk up and hurt. So I'm putting that aside, but the only way they can hurt you really is if, what is it? There's a great Eleanor Roosevelt quote, right? About the only way you can let people hurt you is if you let them. And there's another one, and I'm not sure who I'm stealing this from, but I was sharing this with a client earlier today that, you will never receive criticism from anybody doing more than you. You just won't. That's just not how it works, right? They just anybody who's doing more from you might have advice if you want it, but you won't be receiving criticism from them.
Right.
So that can be really confidence building.
That whole couple paragraphs right there, it sounds wonderful in my head, but and a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but I have pretty severe social anxiety at times. And I can't tell you how many times as a business person, I've signed myself up to go to events, and represent the company. And I get to the door and I turn around, get back in my car and go home. I just freak out when I get to the door. I'm like, I'm not going to go in there. I don't know anybody. I'm not going to be able to talk, and I just go home.
Sure. Yeah, I really hear you, Wayne. And this stuff I'm saying is aspirational, right? I mean, look, folks, I put my shorts on one leg at a time, just like Wayne and everybody else. All right. I'm a mere mortal. And this is a practice, not an event, right? So there's something to practice. And if and when, we can put ourselves in this space. I mean, nobody ever led anybody into battle saying, hey, I really like you and hope you like me and let's go into battle. That never has happened, right? It's more like, hey, we're in this together. We got this, charge.
Right.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we're going to be in it together. That's real. That's authentic. So that's kind of what we want to do in job seeking in a lot of places.
All I can say is I'm so thankful I haven't had to, like I said, there's been a couple of times during COVID and stuff like that where we've come close, but I'm so happy that I haven't had to re-enter the, job seeking. Yeah. I don't know if I could even, I'd have to take a course on how to write my resume. I haven't written one in so long.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Wayne, because a lot of times I'll work with clients and, they'll sort of beat themselves up. There's a lot of self-judgment because they're like, well, I should know how to do this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What? First of all, shitting's messy. We don't want to shit the bed. We don't want to shit the yard. Definitely don't want to shit our pants, right? So no shitting anywhere. And what makes anybody think they should know how to go through this weird, arcane, anachronistic, process we call job searching that so many people say is linear and logical and fair. And at least in my experience, it's often none of the above. We know there's wage gaps and pay disparities and discrimination and all sorts of isms when it comes to job searching. There's nothing fair about it. So I take great pleasure in hacking the system virtuously, right? not hurting anybody, but people, these, especially big companies that are like, whoa, we make data-driven decisions. Yeah. No, you don't. No, look at the world. Nobody makes a data-driven decision, right? It's all feeling. And so stop trying to say you don't put your shorts on one leg at a time because we know that's a lie. Yeah.
So for you personally, do you, say you had an opening. Do you still prefer to get the paper resume, or do you want a digital resume, or do you want no resume at all and have the person come in and just speak confidently about what they're there for?
No, I like resumes, and part of it is because I look at 10,000 of them a day, right? But and look, anymore, I haven't seen a resume printed out in a while. Now that could be an interesting tactic, right? Is to mail someone your resume because they'll be like, "Oh my God, what is this? What is this dead tree in my hand?" Right? So, But the one thing I will say with resumes in particular is, and a lot of people miss this, is people believe what you show them more than what you tell them. Right. And I find this hilarious. People do this this is the mainstream career advice. Do these things right here. Here's a list of things that very many people will say to do. Well, if you put the title of the job you're applying to at the top of your resume, that'll really show them, because they won't realize that. They'll be like, what a coincidence. Or how about an executive summary? Now, what the hell that is, I have no idea, but it sounds good. So let's put an executive summary for some executive somewhere needs a summary, which they're either going to skip because that's what you want them to see, or that's all they'll read and they'll skip the rest. And there's no context. So that's a disaster. Or they'll be like, it'd be a really good idea to hide your age, right? Because we want to build trust with that employer. So let's because we all know it's never the scandal. It's always the cover up, right? So let's hide our age, or maybe we'll only put the last 15 years of our experience. I mean, this is mainstream advice that I hear all the time. Or here's another thing. Let's make our resume, optimized for the algorithm, that all these companies, that doesn't work, right? For a lot of reasons I could go into. And this contradicts mainstream career advice. And what happens is a lot of people that become clients of mine will come to me and they'll show me all this stuff, and I'll look at them and I'll be like, how's that working? And they'll be like, it's not. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. There's a better way. So that's my little soapbox for the day.
There you go. I love it. Yeah. How many resumes do you think you've seen that you're pretty sure AI wrote it?
Well, I can tell right away. I mean, I can tell right away. In part, and this is not to rain on AI's parade.
No. I love it. I use it.
Yeah,
daily.
I love AI. I think it's great. It's miraculous. And the opportunity is in an increasingly automated artificial world where the vast majority of people are going that direction. The opportunity, and I would say this is true in business too, is to lean the other way. Be more human. Right? Lean into trust, because there's AI is a runaway train. We are not going to beat it. I mean, it's
amazing how fast it's growing.
Yeah, it's so fast. So the opportunity is to use the parts of it that are great to use and for writing and other stuff. But when it comes to a resume, which is such a personal thing, right? It's literally, when we die and go to heaven and there's that big gold book or something, okay, that's our whole life. But otherwise we got these things called resumes that are just sort of these arbitrary, weird things we put together to
mini
summarize. Yeah, it's all kind of made up. So I wouldn't let artificial intelligence do that. The opportunity is to do it ourselves and to show people more than tell them, right? So even little things like M dashes or, people, I'll even have clients that try and use AI to summarize job descriptions. And you can tell because it can be for like a software designer, and the large language model will actually just pretty much count the number of words in the resume. So like Wayne, you and I are having a conversation right now, a human conversation. There might be one sentence that we say in here, and I'll give you an example. No, you remember the part just a second ago where you were talking about how you have social anxiety? Uh-huh. Now that probably has more meaning than all the other words we'll say during this podcast. We'll see how it goes. But AI would look at the transcript of this podcast and it would probably miss it because that was 3 seconds?
Right.
And see, that's the kind of stuff, at least right now, that our friends Claude and Chat and Genesis, they're not super great at least not yet. So yeah, that's what I would say to that.
We always try to do something with, we've done a lot of podcasts lately where we mention AI in it just because how fast it's become a part of so many different things now, and I remember when, not to get off topic, but I remember when Microsoft first released Copilot, and I don't know if you remember that whole story there where it wrote a doomsday virus. Yeah,
I remember this.
Somebody asked it. Yeah, they asked it to write it, and it wrote it, and it freaked everybody out. So they yanked it for like 6 months and rewrote it. And what was funny is during that first initial launch, I asked it to write a code to link my website to my Etsy store, and it did it in 10 seconds. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Amazing.
And then I went to go do it again, and it wouldn't do it. They rewrote it so that people can only, which should have been their first thought in the first place. Right. Apparently, they'd never watched enough Terminator movies.
Yeah, that's right. Enough Matrix. That's right.
You don't want to make these things too smart. You know what I mean? Yes, they're very convenient and stuff like that. But
Yeah. Well, this is like I may be getting this wrong, but what is it? Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, right? Like, I think it's Asimov, but the rules are, protect human life and protect yourself. And then the third is, never let number 2 over, be more important than number 1, right? The three, right. I think it's Asimov. I forget who it is, but that's kind of what it was doing. It broke the rules of being a robot. So yikes.
We every once in a while we'll pop it in because I find it still fascinating and it fits into almost any podcast that we've done so far, Well,
it's everywhere. I mean, it's sort of like it's not going anywhere. And I think, it reminds me, especially last year, really reminded me of about 1997, right? Where it was like, all of a sudden you went on the World Wide Web and it was a picture. And it wasn't just words anymore. And you're like, what is this? What is this thing called Netscape, right? And those people who really realized what was going on by 2000, I mean, they had it made. And by then, so I feel like we're sort of in that period now with AI, right? Where if you can get your head around it and you can keep up with it and keep your humanity, it's going to bring a lot of great things, but boy, it's going fast. Boy,
it really does. So, how do you help people balance their productivity, their resilience, and well-being while advancing their careers? This is almost kind of like right along the whole lines of like where my husband works. They're very big on work-life balances.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing on this is it's like.
Hey everyone, it's just me again interrupting the show as usual. Just want to throw out there my cocktail for tonight's show is Irish red beer. And I don't know, I switch back and forth. Some weeks it's, I just want to drink beer. Other weeks it's whiskey, but I'm on a beer kick right now. And this one's a really good one and I really do enjoy it. So I'll probably have at least 2 of those tonight. But other than that, let's get back to the show. Thank you.
Talking about work-life balance just for a second, it's a little bit of a myth, right? And what I like to say is like when somebody walks or, like when you or I take, like for instance, running, right? Whenever we walk or even run, it's really a controlled fall, right? It's a controlled, it's just a series of controlled falls, but look how much that takes us forward. Right. It propels us forward. And we want to talk about perfect balance. I don't know if you've ever been to Rome and like seen all the statues, those things that have been standing there for 1,000 years, they have perfect balance and they haven't moved in 1,000 years. Right. So it's like, so we might not want work-life balance. What we may want to have instead is seasons and realizing that there's going to be seasons where, work gets busy and there's going to be seasons of rest and recovery. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with seasons, but balance, I don't know. It's a little bit stifling, but to answer your question about sort of taking care of oneself, if the one reason they're going to hire you is they trust you and you make them feel safe, what that requires is you yourself feeling safe. And my experience is when people are burnt out, they're not sleeping, they're not eating, they're not with people they love or people that love them, they're not petting enough dogs, or some people even want to pet some cats, that's okay, right? But all of those things, they're not listening to enough music or whatever it happens to be. It's laughing, singing, dancing. It's going to be different for all of us. When people don't do enough of that, everything collapses. So sometimes I'll meet with potential clients and they come to me and they're like, Eric, I'm pretty beat up. The last thing we're going to do in that moment is, hey, let's dive into your resume. Nope. The first thing they're going to do is let's get you back, let's put a Humpty Dumpty back together again. You're not going to think about job searching for at least a couple, 3 or 4 days. And all you're going to do is pull it together, right? Like take a shower, get some sleep, eat something healthy, go for a walk, pet a dog. And when you're at least back to a somewhat of a baseline, we'll start talking about this job stuff while we continue that regimen. It's so important. So important. Yeah.
It's funny you say walk because it's amazing like how much your mind just opens up when you're just wandering.
100%.
You know what I mean? And people kind of break me and my husband's balls because we're avid gardeners.
Yeah.
But for us to be outside for a whole Saturday weeding the garden, it's nothing. It's not a chore to us because
it probably feels great.
Well, because during that time, it's we just call it mindless work. You know what I mean? Because you're just out there, you're not even paying attention to what you're doing. Well, you know what I mean? Your mind is off thinking all these weird things and you're just pulling weeds out. But you're not really thinking about it.
Well, what's so interesting.
Give your mind like a little bit of time to just go,
Well, that's exactly right. Right. That's exactly right. And, when we are stressed out, when we're worried, like our IQ drops by about 15 points. We literally just become stupid. Yeah, we're dumber. We're sort of like the Incredible Hulk, right? We just get dumb, right? So if I catch myself worrying, which is something I tend to do sometimes, right? I will know that me deciding I'm going to go do something about it is the worst possible thing because I'm stupid in that moment. And whatever I choose to do is probably going to be like the Hulk. I'm going to go smash something, right? So the only thing to do in those moments is to pull it back in.
You're cracking me up. You got all these little metaphors and stuff. And
we're just dumb, right? We turn dumb when we worry. And so the only way we're going to get those 15 points of IQ back is to convince our lizard brain, our amygdala, that we are safe. And look, there's a good reason why we get 15 point stupor, because back in caveman times, we did that so we were ready to fight the saber-toothed tiger. But it's old wiring. We don't have that anymore. So the only thing to do is convince ourselves. And a lot of people literally don't at a fundamental level, don't understand. Their brains do not understand that there's a difference between a saber-toothed tiger and losing a job. It's all the same stuff, right? So if we can give our brain that safety through self-care, that's when we get really creative. And that's when we have the good ideas that are going to help us land that next job. Only always. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's always healthy and good just for a couple hours of just brain shutdown, and just do something that's just, you don't have to actually think about. That's
right. Yep. It's really important, man. It's really important, Wayne. Well, I'm glad we're solving all these problems, man. It's the best.
I just find the older I get, the more of those days I need.
Yeah. Well, it could be that you're wiser.
Wow. Let's not get carried away. Okay.
No. I mean, I think, I think especially as we get older, there's more to process and there's more, I mean, that could be the definition of wisdom is, learning to take time to let one's creative forces come out. And that takes wisdom to do that. Yeah. Hard-won wisdom in my experience. Yeah.
So what actionable tips can listeners use immediately to improve their job search or leadership skills even? Yeah.
Well, the first thing is count the number of I's and me's in everything you write, right? And everything you say. I mean, that's a big one right there. Focus on showing people more than telling them. Telling stories, really powerful, right? Our ability to process stories is like, 20 million bits a second. Our ability to process logical information is like 40 bits a second. It's orders of magnitude greater. I realize human decision-making is 100% emotional. It's 100% emotional, right?
Absolutely.
Like we'll worry about data after we've already made the emotional decision, and be authentic. You stack those things up against a job search, your competition, you don't have to worry about them. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
I like it. Let's see here. Trying to figure out what. Hey everyone, and just going to do our weekly little self-promo here. Listen, if you're enjoying the show, if we put a smile on your face or make you giggle or anything that you like about this show, do us a favor and go to hmprintdesign.com under podcast, like the show, follow it, subscribe to it. It really helps us out in the ratings, and we can get further up on the charts. Right now, we got 1,300 people that are listening, and we are at the top 4% on Podmatch. So we're really excited about it. Second season, we're already booked all the way out until May for shows with guests coming in. So it's going to be an awesome year. If you want to get on the show and you want to sponsor or advertise, go to our website, hmprintdesign.com. You can check out some advertising packages there. You can go to patreon.com/Tango Talk 66, and you can sponsor at different levels there. And we have different gifts and stuff like that. So again, if you're a fan, we love that. We want you on, we'd love to have you on the show if you have something interesting that you'd like to talk about. But to help us keep this show going, we're enjoying it. We're finding more and more people are enjoying it. We're getting some really fantastic guests on here. And, all it takes is a like, a subscribe. Again, it's a free show, the subscription. If you subscribe, you're just going to get notified that there's a new episode out. It's not going to cost you anything or interrupt anything. We only do this once a week. So at most, you're going to get 4 emails in a whole month. But we really would appreciate it. And we thank you much. We appreciate you. And back to the show. See, now I don't have my co-host here, and we usually go back and forth.
You're doing great, Wayne. I mean, you really hit the greatest hits here. I mean, this is a lot of the stuff. Like when I work with people, this is the kind of stuff that we go over. So, the opportunity for your listeners is, take the stuff of this that they, that resonates with them, leave what they don't. And if they do 10% of 10% of this stuff, they will stand out head and shoulders above the competition. 100%.
So how long have you been doing these workshops for? I know I read that you were 25 years at the White House.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. I have a whole crazy story. But it's, and so if your listeners want to hear it, they'll have to come to the workshop and hear it. But yeah, no, I grew up in the Far East, and I came to the States and transferred college 7 times. And then I was a scuba instructor on Guam. And then I worked at the, this is all true. I worked at the White House and the Senate and the State Department and then the Smithsonian. And then, and now I've been doing this for about 6 years. And it's great. And, my beautiful, smart trophy wife looked at me when I did this and said, "Are our kids going to starve?" I was like, "I don't know." And they're still eating, Wayne. So,
I can't believe you transferred schools 6 times.
7 times. 7 times. 7 times. Yeah. Transferred college 7 times. Yeah. I was a little nervous. I had to transfer. Yeah. Don't do that. That is not a recommended prescription for early professionals. Do not transfer college 7 times. Don't do that. But it was okay for me. Yeah, it was okay for me.
That's a lot. Yeah. Eric, all I can say is you've been such a pleasure to talk to tonight.
Likewise.
I love your voice and I love just the way you put words together, and it's charming.
Well, I received that, Wayne, and you know what they say, we're just all a mirror, Wayne. So any nice things you say about me bounces off me and sticks on you, brother. So there you go. I
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I certainly appreciate you being here tonight. And likewise. I can't wait to post this and see how our other listeners who don't join us live respond to it.
100%, Wayne. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I just want to let people know again, you can, if you go to the episode notes, you will see the link to Eric's site, which is https :/ I shouldn't even bother with that.
You've got it right. It's
nobody even uses that.
Winitwork.io. That'll do it. Winitwork.io.
It's event.winatwork.io, and take a look at his career workshop there, and get yourself hired fast, and go from there.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, Eric. Did you leave me?
No, I'm here, buddy. I was just, yeah, that's great. That's great. You did a great job, Wayne. Good job.
Thank you. I thought I was talking to myself there for a second. It's like,
no. I was just making sure there was a good break there. But yeah, Wayne, you're such a good interviewer, man. This was such a pleasure.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it very much. I don't think I've laughed so much during episodes. So, but enjoy the rest of your night.
You
really
honor
appreciate
me.
it.
All right, Brian. I hope to cross paths with you again, sir.
Absolutely. You too.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Bye-bye. So there you go, everybody. Another fantastic show, and we do thank Eric Woodard very, very much. You can find a repost of this on our Facebook page, HM Print Design /War Studios. You can find it on our website, and you can certainly find this on literally every podcast station that you could think of. We're on Sirius XM, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music. You can ask your Alexa device to call us up and play it. So we're everywhere. So again, subscribe. I know you're tired of hearing it. Follow us, like us. We need those points, and we appreciate you guys. And have a good night.